Welcome to the Meet Crete podcast, where we sit down and talk with people who make Crete run every day. Hi, I'm Dave. I'm one of the creative producers here in the communications department at Crete Carrier. And today we're going to meet someone who's been with the company longer than anybody I've met to date. We're going to find out more about him and what it was like in the early days of Crete, what it was like to do what we do now when it was analog, which should be interesting. So today we meet Dan Jones. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
Good to have you. And it's good to have you for as many years as you've been here. How many years have you been with Crete Carrier?
42 years in October.
Good grief. 42 years. I mean, for some people, that's like several different careers. You've been here since when? Since you got out of college, or?
You know, I started, did a business internship in the fall of 1981. So I've been here since 1981, be 42 years in October. So
wow, that's amazing. Congratulations, by the way. That's quite a feat. Dan, by the way, is the vice president of national accounts. What does that mean? What do you do?
What does that mean? You know, I thought you might ask that question. So I am on our national account team. I work with some of our larger customers. I've done that for many, many years. So there's a group of us that are on that team, and again, I've been on that team for quite a period of time.
So you started in 1981. Walk me through that a little bit. Why were you thinking about coming to a trucking company?
You know, I needed a business internship to graduate from college. And so in the early fall, I had to start thinking about, I was going to graduate midterm, and I had not done this internship yet. And so I just started scrambling, trying to figure out where I might be able to do 120 plus hours of a business internship. So believe it or not, ended up at Crete Carrier. So did that for 3 months in the fall of 1981. Started full-time then, January 1st of 1982. So, and I've been here since. So
wow, that's amazing. What was it about Crete that made you sign on to be a full-time employee? You've got a degree now. You got your requirements out of the way.
Right.
But what was it that made you think, hey, you know what? I'll just stay.
The people, the culture, just Crete's a great company. I've been really lucky to have been here for so many years. Some people call me a dinosaur. You know, I've been around a long time. I'm kind of a creature of habit, and all those things are true. So,
tell me a little. You just mentioned culture.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about this place, and I've only been here a couple of years. I haven't been here near as long as you have. But I love the culture, and they do a really good job of cultivating that culture. Has the culture always been the same?
The culture has been the same. It's always been good, and it's even gotten better through the years. I'm lucky enough to work with the best people in the industry. We have the best drivers in our industry. And the other thing I want to be sure to say, we also have the best customers. You know, I'm really lucky. I've been working with our largest customers for over 30, 35 years, and we have the best customer base of any carrier.
Let's jump in the DeLorean. Let's get in the time machine. Let's go back to 1981. Tell me what it is you were doing when you first got here in 81, 82. Yeah. And how was business done back then?
Yeah. 1981, Dwayne Ackley hired me. On the spot, I walked in, interviewed with Dwayne. Dwayne hired me.
No pressure.
No pressure. For the first 3 years, believe it or not, I was the accounts receivable manager here. So maybe a more current term today might be called the credit manager. So I started out, did that for 3 years. And then in October of 1984, Dwayne approached me and he said, would you be interested in moving into sales? And I said, absolutely. So that was the fall of 1984, October. I did sales working out of the Lincoln corporate office for 2 years. And then I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee in the spring of 1986. And believe it or not, at that time, I was the first outside sales rep for Crete Carrier. So
Really?
So
Wow.
I was the first outside. So oh my gosh, if you look at the company 42 years ago or 40 years ago, oh my gosh, the building that we're in today, there was one row of desk in the old office outside of where we're sitting right now. That was it. Then there was a room, maybe 15 or 20 operations people. And you look at where we're at today, it's quite a story.
So you're talking about, what, less than 40 employees back in the day?
I'm not sure exactly what that number would be, but it doesn't seem like there were a lot of us, at that time.
But you were getting things done and things
Yeah.
were happening. How was business? I can't imagine. I remember, I don't want to date myself, but I remember when I was first starting out, just like right out of college or right in college, using typewriters and that kind of stuff every day and not having a computer and access to that. What was it like trying to do your job back in the analog days?
Oh my gosh, scary to think about those days. How we used to use road atlases, to do a lot of work or to figure out routes. So we've come quite a ways.
Would you be able to do what you do now if all the satellites went down, there wasn't any GPS, you didn't have a computer? Would you be able to walk everybody through, here's how we used to do it back in the day?
I could, but I'm not sure that anybody would believe me. So, everybody, in fact, we try to tell some of the younger people sometimes around here, oh, if you only knew what it was like 30 or 35 years ago, they just kind of laugh.
So I've heard stories that there were like whiteboards
oh my gosh,
across the walls. And that's, when you talk about logistics, it's really easy when you got a spreadsheet or you've got some kind of a location tracker on something. If you have none of that, that must have been kind of nightmarish to keep track of all that data.
Yeah, I'm not sure how operations did it then. That's exactly, and I'm not sure if we're not maybe in that room right now. But yes, everything was done manual. The walls were full of those white boards, and you were constantly getting up from your desk, walking to the wall, updating something.
Oh, man.
Removing a plan. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
And then just simply the number of emails and phone calls.
Oh my.
That you take now and having those in analog, so you have a phone at your desk and everybody's talking, and it must have been, even with few people in here, it must have been very, very loud.
Oh my, it was, yes it was.
You live in Lincoln now, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your family.
My family, I am married to my wife, Jean, believe it or not, almost 42 years. So
Wow.
I've been with the company almost 42 years. I'll be married 42 years in August of this year. We have two grown children. We have 4 grandchildren right now. We have 2 that live in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we have 2 that live out in Colorado. And we are actually expecting our 5th grandchild in early October. So our family is growing and changing as time goes by.
That's exciting.
So yeah, we're really excited.
You like Lincoln? You're from here?
Love Lincoln. I'm a Husker. A lot of people will call me Husker Dan. I've been a Husker fan all my life. So really anything Nebraska, football, basketball, baseball, I have always enjoyed it and love it. So Nebraska is home. I grew up in a small town about 45 minutes west of Lincoln here in York, Nebraska. So Nebraska is home for me, and we love it here.
But you haven't always been in Nebraska. You touched on it a little bit. You were in Knoxville. Is that the only place that you've lived for Crete? I mean, you've traveled for Crete more than once, right?
Lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. We lived in Colorado for a couple years, and then we just about 2 years ago moved back to Lincoln here.
But Nebraska's home. So
Nebraska's home.
what is it about this place where everybody's dragged back?
I think it comes down to, I think it's the people. It's just, there's a lot of nice places to live, but it's really the people. It's a special place.
You mentioned right at the top of the segment that you work with some of our biggest clients. What do the clients think of Crete? I hear an awful lot about, the clients are happy with our performance, the clients are happy with this, the clients are happy. But what do they think of Crete as a corporation, the way that we do business?
Yeah. Again, we have a great customer base. It's the best. Our customers, I think, speak very, very highly of us. We have some relationships that go back almost 40 plus years. So that's pretty unusual to have a relationship with a big customer that long. But our customers, we have great relationships, and again, they've been really, really good to us for many, many years.
My supervisor, when I was talking to him about coming to work here, said the most astounding thing, and I thought, wow, that's probably the most stable business thing I've ever heard in my life. He said, our first customer for Crete and for Schaefer are still our customers.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. That's kind of unheard of. You know about a lot of other businesses. That's not typical?
I don't think that's typical at all. Again, I think you're describing maybe a couple of Schaefer's longtime customers. Again, I'm thinking of one of Crete's largest customers of almost 40 years, and that's unheard of. I think to have a relationship with those types of customers for so many years.
We talked a little bit about, we kind of live in a quote unquote modern age compared to when you came here.
Sure.
What is the future of trucking, do you think? What does it look like 42 years from now?
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's a great question. And that's definitely not part of my, level of knowledge or expertise. I think it's going to always be good. We've kind of stepped up. When you look at what's happened, since COVID back in 2020, in 2020 March, really up until this point, trucking is so important to our economy, to our nation. I think. You're going to have some ups and downs, through some business cycles, but it'll be good in 40 plus years.
But there won't be whiteboards.
There won't be
typewriters.
No, there won't be whiteboards.
Dan, I gotta ask you a question, and I think you're probably one of the few people in the building that could probably answer this with any degree of certainty. What are we thinking about Coach Rule? Has he put together a decent season this year, do you think?
I think based off of what's happened the last few years, a couple different coaching staffs, I think we should all be prepared just to maybe be patient, on paper right now, I think it looks like he's going to be very successful, but I think we should also probably all maybe practice patience. So
we kind of lost that in this state.
Yeah, we're not real good with that.
Well, we're spoiled.
Yeah.
We're spoiled. We had a good thing going for a long, long time. It was great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for sitting down with us today and explaining a little bit about your past, and thanks for all that you do here for all of the decades that you've done it. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate it. Thanks for listening and watching the Meet Crete podcast. And if you clicked on the link to get here today, just a reminder, you can find all of our podcasts on the Crete Carrier YouTube channel. We'll be back to find out more about the people we work with inside of Crete Carrier and Schaefer Trucking in the next episode of Meet Crete.